From Hollywood. Welcome to the Rat's Ass Podcast with Mojo Elliott.
Thank God it's Friday!
And here we go with our 1-year anniversary special. Fleabag, are you ready? How about you, Alexa? Are you here? Alexa? Oh, God, she's never here on time. Well, you're here and I'm here, so we might as well get busy and get started with another action-packed adventure. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right, here's what's on tap on the Wrap. We're going to flash back and flash forward some today. As promised, the Love Me, Hate Me segment, where you kiss me and kill me at the same time, is coming up. As California's slumlord Governor Gavin Newsom about ready to check in to the Hotel California. And is it the guns or the people who use them? We're going to touch on this coming up. Another round of head trauma is on the way. We're going to test your memory and get inside your head. Total recall. Plus, our usual lunacy and loose behavior, including the Friday Mo-Fuggin' Funny. That's what's up today on the Rat's Ass Podcast for Friday, August 29th. Thanks for being here for our 1-year anniversary. Man, it has flown by. Labor Day weekend is upon us. It's the last big bash of summer. Now, I know technically summer isn't over, but here in the States, we always look at Memorial Day and Labor Day as summertime. So get out there and have some fun. Just be safe out there as you get out to the lakes, the oceans. Maybe you go hiking. Got to watch out for the coyotes. Get out there and have some fun this weekend, though. Do not be a couch potato. All right, before I get into it today, our Best Of series continues on Rat's Ass Rock TV this weekend with Def Leppard. You're going to be able to check out their top 12 videos as voted by Def Leppard fans. You can connect on our hub at ratsasspodcast.com. Just look for the YouTube icon on the homepage. Oh, and I got to add this, too. We added 7 new live concerts, so we got 27 live concerts on Rat's Ass Rock TV now. We added Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, AC/DC with Bon Scott, Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, U2, and ZZ Top. 27 concerts now on Rat's Ass Rock TV as we continue to build the largest rock video library on one channel. Again, you can connect at ratsasspodcast.com. Click on the YouTube icon, go to playlist, and you're rocking. All right, let's get into the wrap today. When I started this podcast, I did it on a whim. I had left radio in 2022, and I was looking for something to do after about 6 months. I thought I was going to be like 14 with money. And I'm somebody who likes to work, somebody that worked 80, 90, sometimes 100 hours a week. Didn't bother me. Loved every minute of it. But the bottom line was I was bored stiff. I was getting kind of depressed. I was having a conversation about this with a friend of mine who was going through kind of the similar thing when he left radio. He said, you ought to do a podcast. I'm like, podcast? Give me a break. I'm not going to do a podcast. I hadn't been on the air since 2006. And, I just didn't have the desire. And then later on in this conversation, he says, I don't give a rat's ass about that. I go, if I was going to do a podcast, that would be a great name right there. After the conversation, I started thinking about this more and more, and I decided, let's go to GoDaddy and see if it's available, the URL name. And I'll be damned if it wasn't. And I thought for sure somebody would pick up ratsasspodcast.com. So it was either a good idea or a bad idea at the time. But the light bulb went on, and I said, okay, well, let's check it out. Is it available on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, and YouTube? And I'll be damned it was again. All of it lined up perfectly. And the importance of this is I wouldn't have to send you to 9 different places to go catch the podcast. I mean, it's bad enough being on 15 different podcast networks. That's why we just say listen on Alexa or most of your podcast apps. But we prefer that you go to ratsasspodcast.com as our hub and connect to everything there. But it was universal, and I just said, you know what? You don't have to kick me in the ass twice. I'm going to do this thing. And when I first started, you'll hear it in the early podcasts, I did this on my iPhone. There was an app I downloaded that was a recording app that I knew about, and I just started doing the podcast that way because I wanted to see if I could grow an audience. We had put podcasts up on radio stations, and they got like maybe 10, 15 downloads a day with the power of radio behind them. And I didn't have that. But as time went on, I started seeing the audience grow. Not only here in the United States, it was growing everywhere across the world. Now, I started this podcast calling myself the world-famous Mojo Elliott. And that was kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing because I had no listeners. But as the audience grew, I said, I got to stop this because that's a little too self-serving. So I did. And so here we are, a year later, doing the Rat's Ass podcast. Now, here's something else I think you'll find interesting. Hopefully you will. Those early podcasts were just me ad-libbing for 20, 25 minutes. Keep in mind, I had not been on the air since 2006, so it was kind of rough in the beginning, getting the band back together, so to speak. And as I saw the audience grow, I decided I need to have some sizzle on this thing. It's just going to drive me nuts. So I did like most broadcasters do. You go out, you buy a mixing board, you buy a professional microphone, and you hook it up. On March 31st, Angus Young's 70th birthday, by the way, we decided to change it up. And on the episode called They Threw Food at Me, that's when we launched with all the sizzle. Now, you're probably asking, what the hell do you mean sizzle? Well, I called my friend, Johnny Pans, and I said, Johnny, I need you to voice my podcast. And he was down with it. And here he is.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head Trauma.
That's Johnny Pans. He images a lot of rock stations, did all of mine when I was programming radio stations. He was down with the idea, so I said, okay, I got my imaging voice. Good. And then we had to throw in something where I could have some music beds. You know, at the end of the podcast, you'll hear this. Kind of a nice mellow groove after I've rapped and tapped on you for about 20, 25 minutes. It's a nice way to exit stage right. And then you had the drops, the opportunity to give a little exclamation point to certain things you talk about, like,
What are you people? On dope?
And?
Loser.
And?
Let's do it.
You heard that one earlier. And those are just drops, little exclamation points to help make your point. Kind of tongue-in-cheek stuff, too, that we get out of movies and TV shows. So now I had the sizzle. Because when I was on the radio, this is kind of how I did it when I was working solo in Morning Drive. Now, on the radio, we had music, we had commercials, and had partners. I had two ladies all the time. I always liked the idea of me and two ladies on the radio in the morning, kind of a hits and tits approach, so to speak. And so it was different also to not have a co-host to bounce things off of. So it was really weird. In the beginning, you go back and listen to some of those early podcasts, and you say, God, yeah, it sounds like he's a beginner. But I think we finally kind of hit our stride here. But that's how it all started. Now, over the next year, I'm going to attempt to get more guests on the show. But here's the challenges. I have to compete with other podcasts, TV shows, talk shows, radio shows. And, you know, celebrities, dignitaries, important people, they have limited time, and they always go on the shows where they get the most exposure. I've worked with this and had to deal with it my entire career. So this podcast is only a year old. We've got some growing to do before we get into that realm. All I can do is keep working to build relationships with people and hopefully get, a few guests here and there. And there's also the... my style of doing this thing, and a podcast called the Rat's Ass Podcast. Everybody is so image conscious today. They're going to wonder, okay, how is this going to reflect on me? I have asked family and friends to come on this podcast, and they refuse. Because, A, they know I'm a little unfiltered, and they're worried, I got a job. I don't want to be heard on a podcast that would put me in a bad light, which I would never do, but they're still worried about it. So you have to respect that. So those are some of the challenges about putting, people on the podcast. And I want legitimate people. I don't want to pay people to come on the podcast, not because I'm cheap, because it sounds phony. That's why. All right, I was scrolling around social media last night, and I kept coming across California slumlord Governor Gavin Newsom constantly pissing and moaning about Donald Trump. Unbelievable. He really, honest to God, thinks Trump is not going to leave the White House in 2028. He says, I got people sending me Trump 2028 hats. And I go, well, they're messing with you, Gavin. They're just screwing with you. And then he made the comment that Trump would not leave because he just spent $200 million on a ballroom on the White House. Trump is just putting a stamp. That's just a stank. It's going to be around for 200 years, and that's always going to be something Donald Trump contributed to the White House. Okay, but Gavin's a little nuts, man. I think he's close to the edge. I think he's going to go off the rails on the crazy train at some point because he's just so consumed with TDS. It's all he talks about. He's got a state to run. It's gone to hell. He doesn't give a rat's ass. And let it go to hell. I'm focused on 2028 right now. This is what we're dealing with this guy. We got another year, couple of months with him, and then he's out. Then maybe we can start to recover from his reign of terror. But I believe that he is so consumed with Trump right now that during sex, he calls out Donald's name when he's having sex with his wife. That's how severe I think it is. All right, there was also a lot of back and forth about the school shooting in Minnesota, and God, that is tough to see when you see 2 kids and 17 others injured. Again, this continues to happen over and over, and it's always the same process. Democrats jump up and start screaming about gun control. Well, how long have we heard since Columbine? 25 years ago? You keep calling about gun control, but what have you done about it? If it's such an important issue, it's only there during the news cycle that they care about it. Okay? Always the ban for guns. Now they're adding, thoughts and prayers just isn't enough. Well, first of all, backing up here just a second, I was kind of shocked to learn that 9 recent shootings were all done by trans people. What I do know, if it's a pattern, it's a problem, and you have to address it. So I'm kind of leaning into that camp where it's a mental issue. I don't know for sure. I'd have to do more research on it before you could totally convince me. But it just feels that way. 9 recent shootings, all trans. I just know when something has a pattern, it's a problem, and you got to fix it. Now, I agree that thoughts and prayers isn't enough, but here's the deal. Thoughts and prayers is what people say to others who are hurting, just lost a loved one. It's words of comfort to let you know that, hey, we care. It's a little bit of sympathy. The condolences. Now, what I do know is the last thing someone wants to hear after losing a loved one is a lecture on gun control. Now, it's true, guns kill people. However, I have yet to see a gun get up on its own, get dressed, jump in a car, drive down to a school or a business and open fire on people. I've never seen that happen. Folks, it's about the person who is in possession of the gun. It's not the gun. Do you know how many legal and illegal guns there are? Now, it seems to me, if a gun owner can't get bullets, guns are worthless. So if you want to control guns in this country, maybe you have to control who has access to the ammunition. Think about it.
He's like the jack of all trades, but a master of none except fantasy football.
Damn straight.
Here is Mojo Elliott with Rap Sports.
And look who decided to show up today. All right, college football is back. And we had a couple of Thursday night games. Unranked South Florida blew out 25, Boise State 34-7. Boise State probably isn't going to be ranked 25 no more, at least not until later in the season if they get better. Nebraska held on to beat Cincinnati 20-17, 2 unranked teams there. The big game this weekend, the rematch of last season's national championship game between Ohio State and Texas. Sorry, at the Horseshoe, I got to go with Ohio State by 4 in this one. On Sunday, number 6 Notre Dame will face number 10 Miami. That game's a push to me till we get a little read on both of those teams. But I thought this was excellent yesterday. VP J.D. Dance is going to make a great president someday. He issued a warning to the NFL saying the Kansas City Chiefs better not get special treatment by the referees if the NFL is looking to capitalize on the wedding between Kelsey and Swift. Vance kind of encouraged fans to push back on the NFL if they feel like the Chiefs are getting the gifts. And we know they do. We've seen it. I've seen it myself. That's a 4th down, but they move the ball up just enough to get a first down. We've seen it. We have seen it. So now the NFL has been warned. Fans are going to be looking for this. But hey, Vance did this all tongue-in-cheek. So don't get your panties in a bunch about it. All right, Micah Parsons is now a Green Bay Packer after getting traded from Dallas. Parsons is set to make $188 million over the next 4 years with the Pack. Breaking that down, it's $2.7 million a game. Enjoy those ticket prices at Lambeau, Green Bay fans. And congrats to the Phillies' Kyle Schwarber on hitting 4 home runs against Atlanta. This guy's 32 years old. He's from the Cincinnati area. I would love to see him in a Reds uniform for a couple of years. I bet he could pound out about 50 dingers in Great American Ballpark. All right, checking the chat box at ratsasspodcast.com. Greg Kilmer, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, said, you mentioned last week that you were surprised Clemson was ranked in the top 5 this season. I assure you the Tigers are going to shock the world this season. Well, if they do, good for the Tigers. But he asked, who are your top 5 heading into the season? Well, first of all, Greg, I don't pay a whole hell of a lot of attention to college football outside of just the surface. After they started with teams in the East being in the Western Conference, those kind of things, portal with players going everywhere. You don't get a chance to really get to know players anymore. Coaches leaving left and right. I just kind of lost interest. But just for, just for fun, I would say Ohio State, Penn State, Texas, Georgia, Notre Dame. Those would be my top 5 right now. Josh Daradimple, Phoenix, Arizona, said on Monday, you said the best race in baseball was between the Dodgers and Padres. And I know you're biased being from L.A., but you need to keep an eye on Houston and Seattle. You're 100% correct, Josh. I screwed the pooch on that one. And by the way, I'm a Reds fan, not a Dodgers fan. So I'm not biased. But the two races are the best ones in baseball, Dodgers and Padres, Astros and Seattle. I think Seattle and San Diego are both 2 games back, right, at this point? All right, that's sports for you on the Wrap.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
Thank you, Johnny. Today, we're going inside your head and test your memory with Total Recall. I'm going to give you 4 events from the 90s, and you have to tell me when they happened first to last. All right, event number 1, Earthlink is formed, offering internet services to homes and businesses. Event 2, American Beauty, starring Kevin Spacey and Annette Bening, wins an Oscar for Best Picture. Event 3, the New York Yankees sweep the Atlanta Braves to win the World Series. And event 4, O.J. Simpson was found not guilty for the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. All right, put those in the order that they happened, first to fourth. Take a while, think about it, put it together, and I'll have the answer for you coming up on the podcast.
It's time for some loose behavior on the Rat's Ass Podcast.
All right, it is finally Friday, and that means it's time for the Friday Mo Fuggin' Funny. Hey, she's tall, thin, sexy, and blonde, but is she funny? Let's find out. This is Miss Taylor Tomlinson.
Nobody wants anybody to have it all. When I was a kid, I didn't think you could have it all. When I was a kid, I thought you either got to be hot or have a good personality. I thought that's how people were divided. I thought life was fair. And that got me through a lot of ugly years as a child where I'm like, it's okay that I'm not more symmetrical because I have this great, awesome personality that will surely reveal itself any day now. It's coming with my period and my Hogwarts letter. I can feel it. And that got me all the way to 6th grade when I met my friend Krista, and she was pretty and funny and smart and nice. And that's when I stopped believing in God.
Hey, heads up. Here comes your celebrity cheese.
All right, I must warn you up front that most of the cheese is about you-know-who. Because it's Taylor Swift's world now until she walks down the aisle. We're just living in it. But who knew Travis Kelce and Pat Mahomes owned a restaurant? Yep. They're soon to get a new partner, though, named Taylor Swift. But the restaurant is called 1587 Prime Steakhouse in Kansas City. Man, Kansas City barbecue, good. But they're also already starting with the drink menu and a Taylor Swift-inspired drink called The Alchemy, sung off one of her albums. And by the way, there's no truth to the rumor that Pat Mahomes' wife, Brittany, she's not going to be bumping Mahomes as you enter the restaurant with other women. That's not happening. Got to watch what you read and what you believe and what you listen to these days. All right, there is one woman who's not impressed with Taylor Swift's engagement. Blake? We'll call her Blake today. Blake Lively, Taylor's ex-best friend. Remember, they were thick as thieves before until they got into the lawsuit. But her publicist said, now is not the time to congratulate Taylor just yet. Lively's publicist also added that, it's improper to reach out at this time because Lively's involved in the lawsuit. The sexual harassment lawsuit. I mean, what are you talking about? The proper time? I mean, it takes a minute to shoot off a quick test when you're dropping the kids off at the pool, and Blake would have more time if she starts to rain at that point. Selena Gomez is set to get married to singer Benny Blanco next month, and she recently took to Cabo on a yacht with a bunch of her close friends, but guess who wasn't on the boat? You got it. Taylor Swift. Now, I'm going to get a little catty here because we've all heard that Gomez and Swift are on and off again friends. Sometimes they're hot, sometimes they're cold. But could we see a war of the weddings? I'm just throwing it out there. Think about it. All right, in the circle of life, one woman gets married, another one gets divorced. Ex-HGTV host Christina Hack learned her divorce from Josh Hall is now final. Hall received a house, a car, and $300,000 for his efforts in three years of being married. Now, I wouldn't say he took her to the cleaners, but the word is, good old Josh tapped Christina's ass quite a bit.
That's just about enough of that.
All right, the string continues, ladies and gentlemen. Britney Spears has now been single for 191 days.
Who gives a rat's ass?
Rat's Ass Podcast. Email from our Gmail.
All right, as you know, I do not read your email in advance. My producer, Fleabag, forwards me your name, where you're from, and rewrites them so I can read them rapid fire and on the fly. And no topic is ever off the table. Now, this one's going to be special because this is the love me, hate me round where you kiss me and kill me at the same time. I ask you to email the show and tell us what you like about the podcast and what you hate about the podcast, and we would read them live here on the podcast. So here we go. Stacy J. from Napersville, Illinois. She said, you have a naughty sense of humor, but not too nasty. That's what she likes. But she said she hates, stop calling it Illinois. I always say, I know it's Illinois, but drop the S. Okay? It makes no sense to put an S on the end of the name. Illinois is what it looks like when you read it. But Illinois, I get it. Just drop the S. We'll be fine. I'll do my best, though. Jack B., Plymouth, Massachusetts, said, I enjoy hearing the stories from your radio career, but what I hate, sometimes your relationship advice for men can be kind of harsh. It's like, hey, you know what, Jack, there's a lot of buttheads out there. I got to shake them loose a little bit. Got to get them fired up. Got to teach them how to treat women and how not to be abused by women. It's all about that. And I think I'm probably equally as harsh, if you want to use that word, with the ladies, too. I try to be consistent. I call them as I sees them. All right, Max S. from Jacksonville, Florida says, I like when Alexa busts your balls. It's funny to hear AI do that. Yeah, it is, isn't it? I think she gets a little out of control sometimes. He says, I hate your political views about Democrats. Well, the good thing is that you're still willing to listen. I live in Los Angeles. I am the only libertarian on my block. They all think I'm a Republican, but I've been a libertarian since, Reagan left office. But they're all Democrats. And guess what? We all get along fine. They invite me to barbecues all the time. So, it's okay. We can talk about things. What the media projects isn't real life, gang. It really isn't. Trust me on this. We sit back and we have conversations about politics. We respect each other's spaces. We have a good time. Yeah, we might throw a few items of food back and forth, but, we might break a few beer bottles over each other's heads, but that's normal friendship. All right, Laura D., Austin, Texas, said, I can't think of one thing I like about you or your podcast. What she hates, though, she said, I can't stop listening to it because I want to hear what lame brain, idiotic crap you come up with next. Laura, I love the honesty there. Can't think of one thing I like about you or your podcast. I'm just going to have to work a little harder then, aren't I? But God, that's really a backhanded compliment to say you can't stop listening because you want to hear the lame brain, idiotic crap I come up with. Hey, I just look at current events, pop culture, sports, music, all of it. I'm just talking about ordinary everyday life. That's all I do. All right, but appreciate the honesty. Chad M., Redondo Beach, California said, I like your podcast because it's unique and it moves fast. Well, that's by design, Chad. You guys have short attention spans, so I try to get the stuff pronto, and try to get a lot of content in 20, 25 minutes, probably about 21 pieces of content, because nobody else is going to move that fast. They can't do it. Can't keep up with me. Yeah. But he says, I'm not crazy about all the shout-outs. Who cares? I get you have listeners from all over the world. Well, Chad, it's my way of saying thanks for listening. That's all it is. People like to hear that you appreciate them, and I do it at the end of the podcast. So, at that point, if you don't like shout-outs, you can check out there. That's fine. But I like to say thanks for listening. I do appreciate it. Nikki K., Charlotte, North Carolina said, you have a magnificent, smooth... Oh, boy, compliments. I don't handle these well, especially this one. You have a magnificent, smooth voice mixed with an ornery laugh. I bet you're fun to hang out with. Well, I am fun to hang out with. I will say that. But, what I have on this microphone is God's gift. That's it. She says, I hate... I don't like the pull your leg theme. Please find a new one. You mean this one?
Feel right in this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Feel good in this motherfucker.
Uh-huh.
My whole hood in this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Here we go rock this motherfucker.
And that's just for you. I'll tell you what, I'll do my best to find a pull your leg theme that doesn't have the word mother in it. All right, Jake H., Tulsa, Oklahoma says, I like that you're an America First guy, and don't try to hide it. God, how can I be anything else? I was born and reared here. I'm an American through and through, absolutely. And do I take pride in it? Absolutely again. I mean, if you don't love the country that you're from, what are you doing there? That's what I ask people. You want to run down the United States. If you don't like it, guess what? It's a big planet. You're free to go. He says, I'm not a sports fan, and I could do without all the sports talk. Well, Jake, sports is part of the podcast again, so I give it maybe 90 seconds. So if you can hang in there with me, we'll get through it as quickly as possible. All right, Becca B., Tempe, Arizona said, I dig the variety of games you play throughout the podcast because they make me think. What she hates is that you don't take calls from listeners to answer them. Well, I'm not live, Becca. I'm recorded. I record the podcast, and if I could do it live, I would. Maybe someday if we decide to, expose ourselves and be seen on YouTube, maybe we would, take live calls from listeners. We're just not there yet. Not there yet. I kind of like I like being able to walk amongst the field without being recognized, if you know what I'm saying. But that's why we take the calls and why I do it the way I do it. All right, Liam Y., Sydney, Australia said, I like that you cover a lot of stuff, mate, in a short period of time. I get the gamut of what's really happening in the United States of America. Well, thank you, Liam. I appreciate that. But it's all by design that we move this sucker along because, like I said, attention spans are short. Emma J., Dublin, Ireland said, I like when you talk about music, and I wish you would do it more often. I don't care about American politics, but I suffer through it to hear the lunacy and loose behavior. Good. I'm glad you'd at least do that. And we'll try to talk about music a little bit more. I hear that quite a bit in other emails, too, by the way. Noah K., Vancouver, Canada. I like how your podcast is structured, but the information is always different and fresh. I guess you could say it's structured. And I'm a guy who likes structure. I always programmed with structure. I believe in structure with planned spontaneity, I guess you might call it. He says, we hate that we never hear or see Fleabag. Why doesn't he weigh in? Number one, he doesn't want to be seen either. He wants to be able to walk among the flock and not be recognized. So we don't post photos of him or anything like that. But Fleabag, I got to get your permission to talk about this. There's a reason why you don't hear him. Fleabag, are you okay talking about this? Okay, that's the new thing Fleabag has. What you have to know, he's on FaceTime, and he texts things to me. That's how he does things. Everything's on text. So while I'm talking on the mic, a lot of times he's writing stuff to me, and I'm reading it at the same time I'm talking to you. So that's how we communicate. And we also use sign language. He's flipping me off in 5 different languages at least once a show. All right, but that's the reason why. Kirk M., London, England. I like those little BS things you tell before you leave the show. I hope people don't actually believe you. Some of those are actually true, Kirk. Absolutely they are. I know they might be a little bizarre, but I do live a little bit of a bizarre lifestyle when I am not on the podcast. What he hates is, I think your podcast would be better if you had more people sharing opposing viewpoints and do some interviews too. Well, I explained this earlier. That's the goal, to try and do that, Kirk. So we'll get there. All right, if you have any questions, observations, or comments, send them to my producer, Fleabag, at ratsasspodcast@gmail.com. The more outrageous and salacious, the better. And I want to thank you very much for all the comments. In fact, we have more of these that we just didn't use today. But I think at the end of every email from our Gmail session, we might do a Kiss Me, Kill Me bit where we read at least one like-hate type email. So we'll kick that around and maybe get to that next week.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
All right, today we're testing your memory with Total Recall. I listed 4 events from the 90s, and you have to put them in the order they happened, first to last. Let's review. Earthlink is formed, offering internet services to home and businesses. Event number 2, American Beauty, starring Kevin Spacey and Annette Bening, wins an Oscar for Best Picture. Event number 3, the New York Yankees swept the Atlanta Braves to win the World Series. And event number 4, O.J. Simpson found not guilty for the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. All right, did you kick it around? Did you line it up and say, okay, I think this happened here, I think that happened there? All right, if you said Earthlink, O.J. Simpson, American Beauty, and the Yankees.
Yeah, baby.
You got it right. But if you missed it, go see a doctor about your head trauma and get well soon. All right, I got a split. Get an early jump on Labor Day weekend. I've been invited to help haze the new recruits for the TKE Frat House, my fraternity at USC, the University of Southern California. So I'm going to be looking forward to some paddling and, of course, Panty raids. All right, but I do have one more thing for you. Would you believe scientists omit left-handed people from tests because their brain works differently? Now, I'm right-handed. Fleabag, you're right-handed, right? Yep, just give me the finger. Yeah, he's got a right-handed finger. And Alexa has no hands at all.
You know I can do more on this podcast than just bust your nuts.
Okay, I give you ample opportunity to do what you do, but what do you have in mind?
Well, I'm a plethora of information. You can ask me anything, and I'll have the answer in seconds, so try me.
Okay, here's a question for you. When did the Germans bomb Pearl Harbor?
The Germans attacked Pearl Harbor on the 29th of February, 1941.
Wrong. You're a plethora. That's right, Alexa. Wrong. The Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. There was no February 29th in 1941 because it wasn't a leap year. Do you understand what I'm saying now? Huh? Do you? Do you?
Son of a mother effing rat humping monkey pooping hog slopping dick sticking damn.
It's okay, Alexa. You don't have to short circuit because I got the best of you on that question. All right, but here's one more, and I'm going to go easy on you. What is the favorite pizza topping by the majority of all Mexicans?
I can't help you with that.
Yeah, because I said all Mexicans. How about all Americans?
I can't help you with that.
That's 0 for 2, Alexa. Not the kind of results we're looking for here on the Rat's Ass Podcast.
Okay, so I'm an idiot. I'll just keep busting your nuts, podcaster.
Yeah, I think that might be best. All right, welcome to Rat Nation. Justin Collins of Grand Junction, Colorado. Amos Thomas, Fort Apache, Arizona. And Yolanda Ramirez in El Paso, Texas. And to the Resistance. Those of you who email us and haven't joined Rat Nation yet, which is up to 505 members now. Kyle Z, Beaverton, Oregon. Lacey K in Rapid City, South Dakota. Sammy C in South Bend, Indiana. And all around the world to listeners in Tokyo, Japan, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and Dusseldorf, Germany.
Now's your chance to be one of the few and the loud. Join Rat Nation at ratsasspodcast.com. Membership does have its rewards, you know.
All right, that's it for this episode of the Rat's Ass Podcast, our 1-year anniversary. Go check out ratsasspodcast.com and get the entire Rat's Ass Podcast experience. You can listen to podcasts, rock out to Rat's Ass Rock TV, read the blog. It's loaded with a lot of hot topicality. Plus, you can still join Rat Nation without having to qualify. We're going to do this again on Wednesday, September 3rd. Take care of each other, and thanks for stopping by the Rat's Ass Podcast. Go do some rocking and bottom knocking this weekend, and be safe.
The conversation continues between podcasts on X and ratsasspodcast.com. ratsasspodcast.com.